Hi there.
I'm Tiffany Ashinsky, Sports Illustrated.
Nice to meet you.
Cameras roll, please.
You have the scores of the football games on that thing by any
I
chance?
do, and I don't know if you want me to tell you what it is.
Uh-oh.
Do you?
Well, yes, I do want you to tell me.
Buffalo's
we are
winning.
speeding.
Buffalo's winning 16-0.
Buffalo's winning 16-0?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm sorry.
In the third quarter?
Fourth.
In the fourth?
Yeah. Okay,
Rex
wait,
Ryan.
so-
Here he is to save the day, but wrapping it up in his special way. Throw in a preview show, add some alcohol, and here we go. Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman.
Hola, señors, it is I. Nope. Oop, Senor Batman, and I am back. And I am back for your week 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wrap up in your week 5. Just 1 5. Preview show. Last week was a big week. There was 2 undefeated teams. They both faced off against each other. Levy and Bell came back, so we'll see how El Sacco did. And there was like a fucking 1,000 trades. So let's not waste any time. Let's get straight to the week 4 Ripe Up. Ripe Up. Okay, so starting off with the match of the week, Chronic Roster Bader, defending champion, faces Welcome to Bohax Pit, gets the victory, 103 to 75.4, but 103 was his lowest score of the year, almost didn't break 100, so there is some truth to the Bohax Pit curse, because what he does is he kind of just grabs you by the ankle and he pulls you into his pit of fantasy despair, and you kind of just sit down there and you're like, fuck, I'm going to lose to this piece of shit scoring 75 points, and then all of a sudden, you lose. But in this case, Clark Rosberg prevails. He's the only 4-0 team left, and dating back, dating back, for all you fantasy focus listeners, Chronic Rosterbader lost in week 13 last year, but has not lost since. So that's 7 straight victories. He's on a 7 straight win streak, and it'll be interesting to see if his opponent next week can beat him. I guess we'll see. But regardless, Chronic Rosterbader moves to 4-0. He sits atop Division Uno by himself. And Welcome to Boax Pit with that loss, as you'll see when we get to the standings, is no longer in the playoff position right now. We'll get to that in a minute. Next up, Rake Session versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Scored 110, it didn't matter because the opponent scored 157. That wasn't my best one, but regardless, Rake Session gets a huge victory. High score for the season, 157.5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gets 110, which is respectable, but not enough to beat his nemesis in his division, Rake Session. I don't know, maybe they're best friends and they're not nemesis, but regardless, he lost, so he's probably paced. He's 1-3 now. Rake Session moves to 3-1. Next up, Slacy Slayers, champion from 2 years ago, went into this matchup 0-3 against hashtag White Receivers Matter, who's been pretty good this year, just had some bad luck with the wins, and he has some really bad luck this week. Lowest score of the season for him, lowest score of, I think, anyone this season, 65.8 points. He loses to Slacy Slayer with his 118.3, and just a bad day for him. Michael Crabtree gets Mr. Slacy Slayer's 30.3 points. And the victory, Slacy Slayers and hashtag White Receivers Matter are 1-3. Moving on, Richmond Rush gets a victory. He was the runner-up last year, but he gets a victory against Martial Law, 96.2 to 85 points. Both of them right under 100. It was almost like they were battling to see how many points they could score and still win without going over 100. Well, Richmond Rush wins that, goes to 3-1. Martial Law goes to 2-2. Next up, the other team in Division Uno and actually the whole entire league, who had not won yet, I'm Sofa King We Todd It, gets 120 points, which is a good score, but Peterson, Adrian Peterson, gets 138.7 in the 18.7 point victory. Roethlisberger gets him 33.9 points, and you know about 28 points to Antonio Brown, 50 points almost between the two, over 50 points, I guess, actually gets between the two. And Adrian Peterson gets the victory, and I get a message on my watch. Doesn't really matter, no one important. I'm so fucking retarded, gets 120, gets AJ Green, gets him 28.3, but it's not enough, and he stays defeated. 0-4, Peterson, Adrian Peterson, second place currently at 3-1. Next up, El Sacco versus Ray Charles Moneyball. Well, El Sacco gets Le'Veon Bell back, and he gets a big victory, 152.5 to 121.4. Ray Charles Moneyball has a good week, really. 121 is very good. But 152.5 for Mr. El Sacco, and he almost had high score of the year, but did not. Thanks in part to Julio Jones. Fucking beast, man. He's a fucking believable 42 fantasy points, and just gave him El Sacco a big victory. So there are your winners. El Sacco goes to 2-2. Ray Charles Moneyball goes to 1-3. Let's look at the divisions, because it gets kind of interesting now. Division Uno, Kronk Rossberg sits alone at top, 4-0. Then you got Peterson, Adrian Peterson, welcome to Boax Pit, both at 3-1. Hashtag White Receivers Matter at 1-3. Slicey Slayers at 1-3. I'm so fucking retarded is 0-4. Division Dos, Rake Session and Richmond Rush both tied at 3-1. El Sacco and Martial Law both tied at 2-2. Teenage Mutant Ninja Portals and Ray Charles Moneyball both tied at 1-3. Your top scorer in the league right now is Rake Session with his 540. And then your top scorer in Division Uno is Chronic Roster Bader. Now, if you look here, you'll see something. So we'll start with Division Dos because it's a little more cut and dry. The three teams you see there at the top are your playoff teams. Ray Session, Richmond Rush by record, and El Sacco, as you can see, is the second most points in Division Dos, so he would have that spot. But if you look at Division Uno, starts to change. First in place are as they are because of record, but then you have Welcome to Boax Pit at 3-1. It would look like he would be in, but if you see, he's at the bottom of the points. Only 382.6, quite a ways behind even Slicey Slaters, who's the next one up. Well, so you're like, well, Senor, who would be in the playoffs if the season ended today? Which would be stupid, because 4 weeks of football and then playoffs would be stupid. Well, I'd say, Senor, I'd be like, well, hey, guess what? The season's not over, but if it ended today, your person that would be in would be 0-4. I'm so fucking retarded. With his 459.7, he would be in the playoffs today, even though he's not won a single game. Now, obviously, doubt that pace keeps up. Because if you're not winning games, you're probably not scoring enough points. You know, you're going to eventually catch up to you. But for right now, he is in sole possession of that wild card spot. So we'll see what happens this upcoming week. So, yeah, that's basically it for that. The next, I'll just say this real quick because we'll get to this in a minute, but Chronic Rossberg currently has the highest win streak at 4 wins, and second behind him, though, it's Richmond Rush with 3 wins. So he lost week 1, but he's won 3 times straight since then. Now we get to here, season tracker by Mr. Michael Rakestraw, aka Rake Session. Apparently, you know, Rake Session's coming through. First off, you got high scorer for the week 4 was Michael Rakestraw. King of Hill 1 ended last week. McFadden was your winner. Won the championship last year. Wins King of the Hill, the first one this year. Week 4 eliminated from Survivor was Mr. Rick Pucci with his horrible score. Then highest single week score has changed. That is now Rakestraw with 157.5 that he got this past week. Largest margin of victory also changed hands. The same person, Rakestraw, 47.5 points this week. Longest win streak is McFadden, as I mentioned. Next best would be Mickle. So if Mickle can win, McFadden loses, they'll be tied. But anywho, division winners, that's not yet. Kid contributors, you see a bunch of kitty contributors. Now if you go to league page, and then you go to transactions, and then you change this to traded. You will see there were 3 trades. First one, Rakestraw traded Mr. Aaron Barton, aka Martial Law. Rakestraw gave up Tevin Coleman. Aaron gave up Amari Cooper. That was your trade. So, interesting trade. Aaron has Devonta Freeman, so he kind of gets his handcuff with Coleman. But the thing about Coleman is that even though he's a handcuff, he fits in that offense. They use him, so he can maybe use him actually, even though he's only the handcuff. Well, not only the handcuff, but even though he's a handcuff to his starter. Next up was Slay City Slayers sent Steven Kostowski, Thomas Rawls, and Gary Barnage. Sorry, I've had my afternoon booze. I'm a little bit slurry, mixing shit up. But those 3 players he sent to Nick Bartos for Drew Brees. Yes, Drew Brees and LeGarrette Blount. So basically what you got there is it was 2, Drew Brees, great quarterback, big upgrade for Slay City Slayers over Andy Dalton. And then LeGarrette Blount, some people are under the impression that he's going to kind of take a seat back. We'll see what happens with Tom Brady coming back. Meanwhile, Kostowski is an upgrade to Mr. Bartos' kicker. Thomas Rawls is the handcuff to Christian Michael, or vice versa, depending. Rawls is out for another month, but when he comes back, if he gets that job, that's a starter for him. And then Gary Barnage, he had Dwayne Allen before as his tight end, upgrade there. Finally, Crybaby Odell Beckham Jr. traded from Aaron's team to J-Mac team. Says J-Mac here. J-Mac! That's Chronic Roster Baiter. Chronic Roster sent his keeper, Ted Gurley. Ted Gurley! Oh, Jesus Christ. Todd Gurley, he sends to Aaron. Basically, 2 players that would have been first-round picks in a snake draft, or if Gurley wouldn't have been kept, he'd probably gone over $50-$55. It's first-round talent that both struggled to start the year. Beckham more than Gurley if you look at their rankings. So, basically what happened there is they swapped. Gurley, Justin needed another receiver. Aaron wanted another running back, so they swapped their struggling players. So that is it for your Week 4 wrap-up. So that's the past. So let's not dwell on the past. Let's not even think about the past. Let's not even, if that happened, there's nothing you can do to change it. Okay? Hashtag wide receivers matter. You scored 65 points. There's nothing you can do to change it now. So just give it up. And let's go instead to the Week 5 preview show and see if you can get it together this week. How about it? So let's get to the Week 5 preview show. Preview show! Alright, starting off in Division Dos, Richmond Rush on a 3-game win streak. Started off with a loss, and he's keep going forward. Versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Portals, who has scored points. He scored points every week, but he just can't seem to get it to victories. Sorry, nose itched. Anyhow, yeah, it's not part of my face. Some people think, oh, that's your face. Like, what happened? No, I got a face under here. You'll just never see it. Anyhow, moving right along. So they're projecting Mr. Richmond Rush, Mr. Runner-up last year, to get 116.9 and beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Portals by 106.7. I disagree. So this is kind of going to be my upset of the week. Why, you're saying? Well, let's just look at it this way. Rodgers, he'll be decent. He'll be good. McCoy against the Rams may struggle a bit. The Rams are a good defense, but I think he'll be good. Theo Riddick against Philly. That's where I start to go, okay, maybe not. Philly has not allowed a passing touchdown all year. So, Riddick's bread and butter, his bread and butter is it's the pass game, really. He's not the greatest running back, per se. It's his skills in the passing game that make him startable. Then you got Hopkins against Minnesota. Minnesota has shut down everyone this year. So Minnesota, I don't think Hopkins is going to have a huge game. Tyrell Williams, who knows what that? There's Travis Benjamin, there's Tyrell Williams, there's freaking Dontrell Inman, there's Hunter Henry, Gates may be back. All these guys are there, and the problem you got is you don't know who's going to get what. So it's kind of boom or bust for Mr. Tyrell Williams. Last week when Inman went off, he only got 6.5 points. So you can see I can highlight it. Just ignore all the bottom part. So basically, who knows? Pitta also, if you look at Pitta, he's kind of up and down. He started out, week one is kind of like, eh. Week two, it's like, oh, look at Dennis Pitta. I remember him from like 5 years ago when he wasn't dead. And then 7.2 and 3.2. So, again, interesting little thing there. And then he's got a few more players we're not going to get into. Like I said about Marvin Jones, same thing. For one, he's questionable, but he'll probably play. And regardless, it's against Philly, who's got a good pass defense. Over here, though, Derek Carr versus San Diego Superchargers. Now, San Diego doesn't have Jason Verrett. He got hurt. He's done for the year. That only helps Mr. Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is going to have a huge game. Then you got, his running backs, receivers, same thing, kind of hit or miss. Landry's good. Let's just be honest. Zach Ertz is going to be back. He should do pretty well. Detroit has allowed a touchdown to a tight end every week this year. Zach Ertz could get a touchdown. Just with that logic. That's what the logic says. Then you got John Brown, Stephon Diggs, both good. So he's doing pretty good. I think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gets the victory, and I think he gets about 120 points. I don't know where they're getting this 106. I mean, they're only projecting 16 for Derek Carr. I think he easily gets over 20 unless that game just turns into a runaway. But regardless, I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gets the victory. So now I got to start thinking of a song. Next up, hashtag White Receivers Matter versus Welcome to Bo X Pitt. And I'm not going to go too in-depth with this one, but Bo X Pitt, his team just doesn't put up points. He hasn't, let's do this real quick. I'm sorry to just, waste time. People are probably like, oh, fucking Senor with his stupid shit. And I'm not singling you out, Mr. Bo X Pitt, but look, week one, he won 124.9. But every week after that, he has not even broke 100. 84, 97.9, 75.4. You can see he's just not putting up the points. He has a team capable of that, but does he? No, he doesn't. And if we look at it for face value here, if the fucking computer would load, there it goes. If the computer loads, you will see why. If you look at his bench, well, he doesn't have him here, but Danny Woodhead he had week one, and I don't know if he used him week one, but regardless, he was a big player he had, but you could just see, he just doesn't have, he doesn't have Moncrief, in week one, Moncrief, he put up 15 points himself, so hold on, we gotta pause. Apologies. Because someone called my phone. I was worried it was Commissioner Gordon, Senor Gordon, and he was going to tell me I had to go do shit. And luckily it wasn't. So, anywho, moving right along to what I was saying, you just look at his team, Mr. Bohack Pitt's team, and you can see, Brian Hoyer against Indy should be okay. Lamar Miller against Minnesota, that I hate. Eddie Lacy versus the Giants should be... the thing is, Giants are okay defense, but I still think Lacy will be good. Matthews should be okay. Shepard should be okay. That's a bad pass defense. Miller against Indy should be okay. So, you see what I'm saying? Okay. Then you look over here. If he plays, Cam Newton against Tampa is a great matchup. Frank Gore against Chicago. Gore is a fucking great player. He's done very good this year. Look what he does every week. So, first week, 10 points-ish. But he's gotten over that every week since. Last week got a touchdown, 18 points. So he's going to be good. Edelman with frickin' Brady back should be good. Nelson is back on his team this week. He didn't have him last week, which may have been a big reason why he didn't have so many points. So regardless of all this, though, I think hashtag Wide Receivers Matters gets the win. They're projecting the win by 16 points almost. So 15.4. So I think that's about right. I think he's going to get the victory and get back on track. Next up, Slay City Slayers versus I'm So Fucking Retarded. Now, I wish Slay City Slayers would have lost last week because it had been the battle of who can get their win last. But Slay City Slayers won that battle last week, and now they're facing each other this week. And to be honest, I gotta go with the projections here. I really, really think that it's gonna be I'm So Fucking Retarded. I won't get super in depth, but they're projecting to win by 11 points. And, he's picked up Cameron Braid, Eddie Royal. He's got in there. I don't know if Des Bryant's playing. What's going on with him? Let's go to news. They got a video. Yeah, so they're thinking he'll play, but even if he doesn't, I think he's got someone else he could put in there probably. I don't know, I can't see his bench. But regardless, I think, he's going to win. He's got Gordon. He's got, Winston against Carolina isn't too bad. So we'll see what he does. But over here, I look at this team and I just go, I don't know. You got Andy Dalton at quarterback because he doesn't have Drew Brees this week. No Mark Ingram. No Allen Robinson. It's like his 3 best players. They're all out. So I gotta go if I'm so fucking retarded. Wait a minute. I'm so fucking retarded. You fucking motherfucker. Now I get it. You're telling me I'm so fucking retarded. I'll tell you something. Well, you got me. No one gets Senor, but you got me. So good for you. Anywho, Marshall Law versus Ray Charles, Moneyball. And this is another one I'm just kind of quick through. Kirk Cousins against Baltimore. Carr had a field day with them. I think Cousins should do okay. Freeman and Gurley should do decent. Now, you might be saying, wait, hold up. Freeman's facing Denver. Didn't you see this, Senor? Are you stupid? And I'm like, whoa. For one, no, I am not stupid. For 2, here's the deal. Freeman, though, if Coleman isn't playing, if he doesn't play or plays limited snaps, Freeman's going to get a lot of work, for 1, and I think he'll get some dump-off passes. Ryan likes to throw to the running back, so I could see a situation where if you look at his, well, they don't have it on here. If you look at the app, it shows it. But regardless, I think he will do he'll do okay. He's not going to have like a goose egg, I feel like. Or like even like 5 points. He'll do pretty good. I think he'll get over 10 points. Gronk, I'm more worried about over here, though. Pryor against New England, we'll see how that goes. Benjamin against Tampa should be good. Inman against Oakland should be good. Bernard versus Dallas, we'll see. Bills defense versus LA, I don't know. That's kind of like whatever. Over here, though, Andrew Luck against Chicago should be good. Elliott against Cincinnati should be good. Howard against Indy should be pretty good, I think. And the rest of this, all pretty decent. Washington with what's-his-face out, Murray out, should be interesting. So I think what'll happen here is Ray Charles Moneyball will pull out a sneaky little victory. Rake Session versus El Sacco, top 2 scoring teams last week. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not going to, like I said, the last 2 I've been, I'm not going to do much analysis. Well, this one I'm not going to do any because this is the way I look at it. El Sacco's team is now pretty fucking stacked. Tom Brady at quarterback, Le'Veon Bell and James White. Now, James White, whatever, we'll see. But James White could be pretty good against Cleveland. But Le'Veon Bell is going to be a stud against the Jets. Julio Jones, Brandon Marshall. Gary Barnidge should be okay. They're going to probably have to pass. Phil Fuller, Minnesota hasn't done a good job. Or Minnesota has done a good job stopping receivers. So I don't expect a big game from Fuller. But Hopkins, they both, I think Hopkins will hurt more than Fuller. Fuller's kind of their second receiver. But, we'll see what happens. But I think Fuller will kind of have a down game. He picks up Chris Hogan and starts him. He wants all the pieces of New England offenses he can get. Ravens D and Steven Gostowski. Over here, if anyone can keep up with El Sacco, I think, it's going to be Rake Session. Now, Carson Wentz against Detroit should be a decent game. If you look at his past games, he scored, decently. Except for Chicago, which is funny. C.J. Anderson, DeMarco Murray, 2 studly receivers. Thomas and Cobb are both I feel like this week. Greg Olsen should be decent. Matt Jones against Baltimore should be okay. We'll see how that goes. Cooper against San Diego should be very good, I think. Rams D versus Buffalo. That one I'm a little more iffy on, but we'll see. And then he's got Mason Crosby. So the way I look at it here is I think El Sacco gets you a victory. I don't think it'll be a big victory, but I think this will be a high-scoring game from both sides. Finally, Peterson, Adrian Peterson versus Cronk Rosterberg. Now, Peterson, Adrian Peterson, he needs to get a victory this week, and if he does, he'll be tied with Cronk Rosterberg. Now, depending on how many points he would beat him by, he could maybe take sole possession of that first seed and be division leader. Now, Cronk Rosterberg, like I said earlier, has not lost in 7 games. He's won 7 straight, so he's trying to get his 8th straight, and he's trying to do something else, which is sweep his division, because starting next week is cross-division classics. So he's trying to get a victory this week, which he could say, I've beaten everyone in this division once, and then move on to the cross-division classic and see how he does there. So basically, the way I look at this is my matchup of the week. Now, the one before was Rake Session versus El Seco, was up there because it's going to be high scoring, but I think this has more implications because it's first place versus second place. So that's my match of the week. Now, you can just look at Chronic Ross Vader's bench. It is just full of O's and Q's and all types of funny letters. But regardless, he's got Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Now, remember, Philly has not allowed a passing touchdown this year. Well, Stafford, I think, is a little bit different, and I think he'll get a passing touchdown. But I do think it'll be a tough game for him, so I'm not expecting a huge game. David Johnson, though, against San Francisco should be pretty big. Crowell against New England. Crowell should do pretty well. He's done great this year. He's only got one game under 10 points. Otherwise, it's been almost 15 points a week. So he's averaging 16.4 a week. So I think that'll be pretty good. Mike Evans against Carolina should be a big game for him. Beckham, if he can get back on track against a 29th ranked Green Bay pass defense, could finally, explode, have a big game. Delaney Walker against the Miami Dolphins, if he starts him, should be decent, I would imagine. Jeffrey has an opportunity with Kevin White out for him to have a big game. Robert Woods against LA. Woods is, if you look the last 2 weeks, he's been getting the catches and targets with Watkins out, so he's taking the dice and rolling with that. Vikings versus Houston, honestly, I could see that being a big game for Vikings defense. They're averaging 16.5 points right now. Last week was their first week under 10. But Houston, Osweiler, and, they got a good offense, but I can see Osweiler making a few mistakes, especially against that vaunting defense. And then he's got his kicker. Over on this side, Roethlisberger. Yeah, that's his name, you fucking stupid piece of shit. Roethlisberger, averaging 20 points a week right now. I'm expecting him probably do the same thing. He'll probably do good. Had a bad week against Philly, but regardless, against the Jets don't scare you no more. Revis is washed up. It's over. It's done for him. So I think Roethlisberger has a good game. Carlos Hyde against Arizona. Now that one, I think he might slow a little bit, but I still think he'll do okay. McKinnon, last week did okay. Had a pretty good game. Got the end zone. Take the touchdown away. It's a mediocre game. Against Houston's good defense. Now, granted, they have some injuries. Watt's out. But I think McKinnon won't have a huge game, but he'll do good enough. Brown should do great. Hilton against Chicago should be good. Witten is kind of I don't know what he's done this year. Yeah, he's kind of struggled, so I think that's what will continue. Sproles throwing in his flex. We'll see what happens there. I mean, the last time he played, he put up 21 points. So we'll see what happens there. Garcon against Baltimore. Garcon really hasn't done shit this year, so I'm not really expecting him just to break out against Baltimore. Bengals D against Denver, so I got to go with the prediction, though. What they project, which is Chronic Ross Vader winning. I do think this will be a very close matchup for Chronic Ross Vader. I don't think he's going to walk away with this win, going into the week and just, go into like Sunday night and be like, oh, I got this in the bag. No, I don't think that's what's going to happen. But, I think what's going to come down to is I don't think he's got anyone here from Carolina or Tampa. Look real quick. No, so I think it's going to come down to Mike Evans on Monday Night Football. I think he'll need Evans to get him some points, and I think Mike Evans will get him some points. So, Mike Evans just doing Mike Evans things here. His worst week was last week against Denver. If you have your worst week against Denver, everyone has their worst week against Denver. So, I would say that Mike Evans is going to have a big week. So, therefore, I think Chronic Ross Vader will take the victory. So, that's basically it for this week. So, you can even look on this real quick before I cut away from this. Hyde and Johnson are on Thursday Night Football tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. And I think that'll be a good indicator of what happens, because that's two of their best players, both this team's best players. So that is that. Let's cut back to full screen. Oh, there I am. So there is your week 4 wrap-up, your week 5 preview show. I apologize for the cell phone interruption. Bitches be calling me. They just be calling me. I don't know what to do about it. Turn my phone off and no one wants to fucking listen. So anyhow, there's your wrap up, your preview show. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope that you have a great weekend this weekend, and I hope that everyone has some good luck and does well, and no one gets hurt. Because, I mean, you know, you don't want anyone's players to get hurt. You just want to beat the other team. Like, you know, when you're facing off that against your opponent, you're not going, oh man, I wish this guy break his leg. If you are, you're a piece of shit. You should be like, I hope this guy drops the ball or catches the ball at the one and fumbles. That would help me. You know, that's what you'd want. So don't wish hurt. I mean, these are real people that have feelings and feel this pain. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy. But anywho, so good luck to everyone this week, and I hope you all have a great weekend. I will see you next week, and when the Cross Division Classic starts. So that'll be great. So until then, adios!